Okay, Harden family, I want to show you what's going on with your girl Emmy. Show you the next part in our training here. The next phase of training is going to be to get into force fetch. I'm going to show you kind of how we're going to get started on that today, um, and talk a little bit about kind of our first few weeks together, my evaluation of Emmy. First and foremost, I got to tell you, I really like her. I think Emmy is a extremely well socialized dog. She's a very happy dog. She's very easy to get along with. She's also a dog that is a very easy dog to keep, meaning that she is clean, she is quiet. We have been, of course, we work very hard to continue potty training to make sure that that stays up. So when she comes home, she should transition nicely back into the home without any major issues. She's been very healthy. The only little snag has been a literal snag on her ear. That is actually pretty common. A lot of dogs will get a scratch, but I think this one's going to leave a pretty good scar. It got her right on the tip of the ear, right on the edge of the ear, and really, really laid it open. And I felt so bad for her because she was crying. It obviously hurt her. I don't know if she saw a bunny rabbit she was off chasing or what, but she definitely regretted chasing that whatever she was chasing, and ran into the fence. But anyway, um, early returns on Emmy, I gotta say, are an A plus. I feel like her natural behaviors are very, very good. She already picks up real ducks. She's been picking up real mallard ducks. So there's been no issue with ducks. As you saw in the earlier video, no issues with gunfire. The only introductory thing we haven't really been able to do is water. It's just been cold. And I don't want to, we don't force that on young dogs. So we will address water, as we go through. We get some warm spells. We're supposed to have some warmer weather here. We may do a little bit of water intro with her, and actually I've got 3 or 4 others that need to do some water stuff. Um, that we'll probably do here early on. But anyways, I want to talk about the next part of our training, because this is where we've kind of done the first couple weeks are about building a relationship, being buddies, making sure that her and I get along well, making sure that all of her introductory foundation stuff is good, and that's all been wonderful. But now we transition out of what I call introductory training and into formal training. And so the biggest philosophical difference is I'm no longer going to ask Emmy to do anything. From this point on, everything is going to be a command. I am going to tell her what to do, and we are going to reinforce that she has to do it. And it's important that we recognize this, because we want to make sure that we are creating a framework where the dog is going to respond on one command, to whatever that command is. And so we introduced earlier, in the beginning, here he'll sit, with being inside on the leash, and that all went fine. I feel like there was nothing wrong there, and we're gonna take that process and make it much more formal. Now, the vast majority of this part of our training is going to be done right in here indoors. It's going to be done in this little space, working on mechanics. And really what we're trying to try to do is, of course, the start of this is for force fetch. And we're going to start the force fetch process, which does 2 critical things. And I want to emphasize this because we're right at the beginning of the process. The first thing force fetch will do, of course, is going to get her to deliver to hand without dropping. It's going to get her to come to the heel position, hand me the object, don't drop it, pick it up on command. All of those are parts of force fetch. It will be a very polished, stylish delivery to hand. And I don't think we're going to have hardly any trouble with Emmy with that, because she already has a good natural tendency to retrieve, and she has a desire to work with me. So I don't expect any problems there. The second important objective we're going to do is we're going to get her to understand how to respond to pressure. And that pressure is going to be the way that we're going to communicate with her. Now, I am willing to bet a substantial amount of money that Emmy is going to be a very low pressure dog. She is a dog that I don't think we're going to have to really be Certainly not going to be mean. I don't think we're going to have to be use heavy pressure. And in general, heavy pressure is always the last option. We always start light and work our way up to see where it responds. And I'm willing to bet good money Emmy is going to respond to a very low amount of pressure. Now, with those two things in mind, building a framework for how we're going to move on from here, I'm going to start by just going back to what she already knows. The things that she already knows. Chew on that leash. You going to get him? All right, going to get that leash? The things that she already knows, of course, is here, heel, and sit. Now, we're going to start from the mat like we did before. Good. That's okay. Sit. Good. We want to sit down on our mat. Good girl. And when it's very important throughout this process, I am going to watch very closely her body, her body language. The tail, the shoulders tell me a lot. Is she comfortable? Is she happy? Is she upset? Is she nervous? How is she feeling? Dogs talk through their body language. And so there she gave me a little tail wag, gave me some good eye contact. That's what I want to see. That's good. Okay, so heel. And notice I'm only going to say the word once. Here, heel, sit. Good girl. Good. Heel. And if we get out of position, here, I'm going to correct with the leash. Sit. Good girl. Good. So this little mechanism we have here, heel, sit. Come to me. Come to the left side. Wait a second. Jason is right-handed, or he's left-handed. Shoot, we got to do that backwards. We're gonna move this around to put her on the other side. Okay. I got to remember that he's left-handed, so we need her on the other side. Okay. So we're gonna switch around our thing here. Much better to remember that now than later. Okay. Good. Heel. Good. Emmy, here, heel, sit. Good dog. So we want her to come in. I don't want her to go behind me. I want her to come in and turn around right here beside me. That is an important part of helping her training down the road. Okay, now, when we are teaching the dog to for force fetch, heel, come on. So what we're going to do, I'm going to have to move this camera just a little bit to get a better angle since she's going to be on the back side. I want you to be able to see this a little bit better. I may move the mat. This is going to be tricky for me because that's my opposite hand. We'll start force fetch on this side. It'll be okay. But we'll deliver to the right. That'll be okay. Sit. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is we have been teaching her all along that obedience is controlling her feet and her movement. Sit down, move, walk, all those things. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to teach her that obedience is also going to involve controlling her mouth. This is one of the strangest sensations for young dogs. And in general, they find it very weird and they generally reject this very fervently. Okay, now it is not painful. I'm not going to hurt her. But what I'm going to do is I am going to stick my hand in her mouth and I'm going to leave it in her mouth until she quits resisting. Okay, because the first thing we have to teach her is that I'm going to control her mouth and that I'm going to give her a command to let go. All right, so the command to let go, I'm going to use the word give. All right, so I'm going to take my left hand and hold her collar right here. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm just going to slip it into her mouth like this. She's wiggling a little. She'll wiggle a lot more probably. She's bringing the paw up. That's fine. This is all okay. We're just going to stay in her mouth until she quits wiggling. Good girl. It's okay. It's okay. Good. The tail tells me she's doing just fine. She's not upset. She's just weirded out. Good. There you go. Good girl. Give. There for just a second, she paused. Okay? So what we're teaching her is as soon as you stop struggling, it's going to go away. All right, so we'll do a couple more reps of this. Hand in the mouth. Good girl. Good. Already very little resistance. This is good. This is really good. Good girl. Want her head up. Give. Good girl. She really is a compliant dog. I mean, she really is a dog who's going to try to please. That is her nature. And so we're going to use that. Also, we take breaks in the middle of all this. Lots of love. Emmy is a lover and a toucher, and she wants affection. So we use that, to help make sure that we keep her in good spirits. Now, we're going to do one more. And again, I want her in this position. Sit. Good. We want her in the sitting position. Hand in the mouth. Good girl. Give. Good dog. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, now that she has accepted the fact that my hand is going to be in her mouth and going to control her, we really need to incorporate movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to put it in her mouth, and we're going to walk with it. Good. And this usually makes them freak out a little bit more. Good girl. Good. We're going to come back to our position. Heel. Sit. Give. Good girl. Very good. All right, so we want her to understand you're going to be controlled, your mouth, even when we're moving. So we're multitasking. Okay? Good. Heel. Good. Here. Heel. Sit. Good. Good girl. Give. Good dog. Okay? So this is the start of the force fetch process. Okay? Understanding that she's going to have her mouth controlled. The next step we're going to do is we'll start working with a force fetch stick and help her to understand that she's going to be carrying a stick. And then we'll start to introduce how pressure is used to get her to do the actual fetching mechanism. But so far, everything with Emmy is aces. I love this dog. I'm glad she's going to be with me for a while. I really am excited to get to see this dog go and do what she can do. I don't get many opportunities to work with someone to say, here's the dog, take it as far as you want. And so I'm really excited to get to do it, especially with a dog that I like as much as Emmy. She's got a great personality, a great temperament, and a lot of great talent as well. So I'm excited to get this going.